Hi, I'm Paul Seal from codeshare.co.uk. Welcome to episode 17 of this series where I'll show you how to build a website with Umbraco V8. In this episode, what I'm going to do is show you how to make the navigation menu dynamic and also show you how to add drop-down items, like a drop-down navigation item like this. So that's what we're going to do today, and it's thanks to this guy on Twitter. I won't say his name because I'll probably say it wrong. He's from South Africa, and he's asked if I could do a drop-down navigation. I thought I'd already done the navigation to make it dynamic, but it turns out I haven't. So that's what we're going to do in this episode. Also in this episode, we're going to just do the security patch, which came out from Umbraco. So there was a security advisory on the 17th. So that's since I've made this, the last video. And basically, you need to update client dependency in all of your projects. If you've got any Umbraco projects, just make sure that they're running the latest version of Umbraco, of client dependency. So first things first, then let's get that sorted out and out of the way. So if we go into Package Manager Console, with this project, what we can do as well, we can have a look in the GUI this way as well. So I went to Tools, NuGet Package Manager, Manage NuGet Packages for Solution. So we've got Client Dependency and Client Dependency MVC5. And last week at work, we were updating a lot of our sites that use this. So what we found the best way to do it was to do it in the console, because then it updates all the projects that's got it in. But you could just tick these two boxes like that, and then you could just install latest stable, or you can use Package Manager Console like this. So I want to do update package and then client dependency. So if we just then press enter on that, this will go off and it will update that package for us, getting it from NuGet. And once it's done that one, we'll do the same for MVC5 as well. So that shouldn't take too long. Okay, looks like it's about done. There we are. So it's installed client dependency 1.99. And then we'll do the same for client dependency MVC5. So if we go to Package Manager Console and we just do update package, and then I'll just add client dependency -MVC5, or again, you could just tick them and install there. But I'm doing it this way, and then press enter. And that'll do the same as the last one, where it goes off, works out the dependencies, and then it installs the package for us. Okay, and that looks like it's done the same as well. So with those updated, we'll give the project a rebuild, and we'll go into the browser. And let's just check that the site still works. So we'll log into the back office. This is the best way to check that it still works, because we've got because Umbraco itself uses client dependency. So if the Umbraco back office doesn't work, then you know that you have got a problem. Whereas you might think that you're using it on the front end, but you might not actually be using it. So the best way to test it is with the back office. So let's just log in now. So yeah, it looks like it's all loading nicely for us. So client dependency is working, so I'm happy with that. So that's the client dependency updated. And so with that updated, next thing I want to do is move on to the navigation. As I say, this was a request. And I looked on the Bootstrap documentation, and this is what we need to do the drop-down navigation. But what we'll do is we'll make the navigation dynamic first, and then we'll add the ability to do the drop-down, things like that. So let's go into our solution, and we'll have a look at the partial view called navigation, which is this one here. Yeah, can't believe I left it like this. Shame on me. So before we actually make it dynamic, there's a couple of bits of text on the page. So there's Start Bootstrap there, so we can change that to be the name of our site, and there's Menu. So where they come out on here is Start Bootstrap up here, and Menu is when you've got it on mobile version. It shows as the collapsed menu, burger menu. So let's get this text editable first of all then. So we'll go into translation and we'll just add dictionary and we'll do site.name, create, and then we can just call it clean blog or whatever you want to call your site. And then on the view here where we render this out, I think it was at umbraco.get dictionary item, dictionary value, and then in there, and we'll just copy the name of it from here and paste that into there. So that will get us our site name, and then we want one for menu as well. So we'll just do create navigation.menu, and then I'm just going to put the word menu in there. Save that. I'll come back and copy that after I've copied this one. Paste that in there, and then copy this one and paste it in there. Save that. So now we've got those in, and I suppose it's worth just testing that out. Make sure we've saved on here. Save, refresh the page. And it says clean blog. And if we go to F12, choose mobile, we can see menu there. So that's good. We'll just take that off mobile. Right, so we can move on to making the navigation menu dynamic now. So to start off with, we'll just put the logic in the top of the view, and then we could, if we have time, we can put it into a service. But for now, let's just do this. So we're going to get the home page. So we get the home page on other pages as well. One of those would be the footer, I believe. So where we get the home page, we'll just use that logic like that. And then we want to have navigation items. So var nav items equals homepage dot children dot where, and then we'll do a lambda expression x dot is visible, like so. So the is visible, if you remember when we did this before, this is basically the Umbraco Navi Hide property. So if we go into here and we have a look at visibility, we've got Umbraco Navi Hide. So if you tick that, it will hide it from the navigation menu. So now we've got our nav items, and then we've got, so this part of the nav, here is the navbar brand, so that relates to this bit here. Then we've got the menu bit, which I showed you on the mobile view. So then let's move down here. So we've got this bit here. So we've got the UL, and then it's going to go through them all. Now home, we could just leave as home. So you can do it like that, or you could do, I can't see any reason other than I can't see any other reason to do it. Well, let's just be consistent, I suppose. So we know the home item, so we could do at homepage dot name in there, and at homepage dot URL. And this could be the point where you decide you don't want the homepage in the navigation, so you could take it out. So it doesn't have to be there. But then we can do an if. So if nav items is not equal to null, and nav items dot any. So if it's not a null object and it's got some items in it, then let's render out a link for each of them. So we'll just paste this in here. So it needs to be an li with the class nav item, and the a inside that needs to have the class of nav link, and then we just so first of all, we need to do a for each with inside that. For each var item in nav items we just put that inside there, and then we'll make it render out the item.url, and the text of this will do item.name. Simple as that. So that now is our dynamic navigation menu. And what it will do is it will render it out in the order that they are on here. So that was very simple. And to be honest with you, because there's not actually that much logic, I'm going to leave it in here. If I wanted to, I could create a service like we did before, create an interface and a service, and then I could use that. I could, instead of using an Umbraco view page, I could do clean blog view page. But I don't think we need to. It's just, that's it. Anyway, so let's just have a look to see if that's worked. So if we go to the home page and we've done a refresh, so we should see that sample post should come out of the nav, and it has done. And we've got home, about, blog, contact, error, and search. So what I said about hiding it from the navigation. So if we go to error and we tick that Umbraco having navi hide, and then we refresh the page, now you can see that it's disappeared from the nav. So that's good. Now what we want to do is we want to do what was requested, and that was to do drop-down navigation. So we want to get this markup from here. So I'll put the link in the notes below, but it's basically getbootstrap.com/docs for components, navs, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, blah, blah, blah was obviously very helpful. So in the navigation, we've got it here. What we want to do is we just want to say var has children equals. Now, I want to be careful here because on the news, I don't want to actually render out the children of news. So I suppose we could, well, let's just do it as it is for now. So var has children, and then you say item.children is not equal to null. Wait a minute. Var item children, right, we'll do it this way. Equals item.children.where, and again we'll do this whole is visible thing again. So we know the item's children, and then what we want to do is we want to loop through those children after we've done the li here. So if we have a look at the markup that we've been given, so we've got the li, we've got the a, but it's got this drop-down toggle. So we could do a bool really. So let's just declare a bool. So you can do it as bool or you can do it as var. So we'll just say has children, and then we'll say item children is not equal to null and item children dot any. So let's find out if it's got any children, and that way we could do it as simple as this. So we could say if has children, do it one way, else if it doesn't, just render it like this. So that's doing it that way, and then let's get this markup again, and if it has got children, we need to render it like this. So the link part here, so it's got an extra class basically of drop down toggle, and it's got data toggle drop down and things like that, and it's the href is hashed out because it's not rendering the item itself as a clickable link. But let's just roll with it and see how we feel about it. And then it's got its title there. So what we can do is we can do item.name, because at the moment it is item. And we can do, because we already know that it has children, we don't need to check again. And inside this div here, we can do an for each var child in item, item children. And then we'll just do that. Now there is this drop-down divider, but we don't need to do that. We're not going to do that. We'll just keep it simple. But if you want to, you could add those. It's good to look at the docs and see what you can add in, those sorts of things. And so here we're just going to do item.url. So at child.url and at child.name. And we can save all of that. So now if we have any children, we should see a drop-down navigation for that one. So as you can see, blog gets a load of these, which I don't really like. I don't want it to happen on blog. So one thing you can do is you can do where it's not that doc type alias. I mean, if you had a few, you could do a few, but it's just the one that I don't want it for. So I'm just going to basically just do it a bit here, just a bit of a cheat, and x dot. So nav items is not null and any. So we're going through the nav items. Has children. So if it has children and item dot document type alias or content type in V8 dot alias is not equal to, I think you can get it from the models, but I can't remember what the code is for now, so I'm just going to be just article list. But I think when I did a training course with Ismail Mayat in Manchester a year or two ago, he showed me how to get the actual hard-coded values from the models builder models to get the alias, but I can't remember how to do that for now. It's not really relevant. You can look it up. It's good to be aware of it, and you can look it up if you really want to do that. So if it's not the article list, then render a drop-down. So now what we should see when we refresh the page is that blog doesn't have the drop-down applied to it. So now it's like, well, what's the point of this? So this is where we then move on again, because I'm going to show you how you can create some, what I call a fast link. So it's basically like a redirect. We call it a redirect. That's what we call them when we do them at work. So we've got compositions, and I'll do a document type without a template in compositions, and I'll do redirect controls, and I'll do the whole pink and frag thing again to show that it's a composition, and I'll add the group, and that can just be content. And so on this, we're going to create a document type, and it's going to have two properties. One is going to be the link of where it's going to go off to, and the other is going to be the whether it's a temporary redirect or not. So we're going to call this the link. So enter the link for this redirect. We're going to use a URL picker. So we're going to use existing URL. Now we've got single URL picker, so that's what we're going to use. Field is mandatory, yes. Submit that. And then the other one is temporary redirect. So if it's a temporary redirect, then what we want to do is change how we redirect. So tick this. If you want this redirect to only be temporary. Okay, and this will just be a reuse checkbox. True, false. That's it. And it's not mandatory to have that one. Right, so there are our controls. So then what we're going to do is going to create a page. Document type, it can have a template, and we'll just call it redirect, and choose an icon. I can never remember which blue I chose. Oh well, redo, I think. That one's a good one, redirect. And then we'll choose a composition, which was redirect controls. And also we want visibility controls as well, because we want to say whether or not we want to include it in the navigation, things like that. Submit that, submit. So what we can do is we can basically like create a collection of links, especially if we go to permissions and we allow it to have itself as a child, like that. So I went to permissions, add child, and then chose redirect. Now if we go into and we want to go to the home one, and we want to go to permissions, and we want to do add child, and we want to choose redirect. So now we're going to allow these to be written out, to be children of home. So this one, I'm just going to call this links. And then link, I'm just going to give it a hash. And then I'm just going to call it links, like that. Submit, save and publish. And as you can see, it's got these properties on here that we added. So that's my links one. And so if we go to the front end and refresh, we can see links are there. So you probably can see where we're going with this. So now we can create another redirect underneath the links. So I went to the 3 dots there, went to redirect. So we could do, maybe we could do the repository URL for this tutorial. So we'll do GitHub repo link. So we'll put the URL in as that, and the title GitHub repo. Open it in a new window, yeah, and then submit. Save and publish. So that's now a child of that. So if we look in the menu and we have a look at this, that's actually going off to that one. But if you see, it's going to the local version of it in the bottom left of the screen. It's going to /links/GitHub repo. But that's not what we want. So what we can do is we can change how that works. But let's just add another couple in there. Buy me a coffee. This feels really cheesy now. You don't have to buy me a coffee. Thanks to anyone who has bought me a coffee. Sometimes it's been a beer, especially when it's close to a festival, but it doesn't look like we'll be having many festivals soon. What with the coronavirus. Save and publish that. There we go, buy me a coffee link. And let's add one more. I don't know, let's put the link for this in there. Redirect, bootstrap. I can't spell. Bootstrap nav dropdowns. Oh, just dropdowns. That will do. Put the URL in there, dropdowns. Now you can choose internal links as well. You can link to other pages. Dropdown nav. Submit, save and publish. So we've got those all set up now, and if we refresh this, what we find is we've got the links. Now at the moment they're not actually going to redirect to anything, so we want to refresh in the web project. So if we reload the project, and we'll see that we've had an extra view added, so we'll include that in the project. And this view it's got content models redirect. So at the moment it's got a layout of null, so that's fine. And what we want to do is we want to say if model and then dot. So we've got these properties on here, and we want to say is temporary redirect, then response dot redirect. Now you can do redirect permanent or just temporary. So then this will go off to the location. So this will be model.link.location. URL. So the reason why I've not done any null checks on that is because we made it mandatory, but you could do it if the link is not null and it has a URL and all of that. But I made it mandatory. It should be okay, but you might want to do some null checking. But in theory, that will work, and then you can do else. So if it's temporary, do it like that, and if it's not, redirect permanent. There you go. And so, refresh this. So that's quite a simple view, really. And you don't have to do it in a view. You could do this you could create a render MVC controller, but we haven't gone into that, I don't think, on here. No, we haven't. We've just done a surface controller. Maybe that's another one for another time. Right, let's go to links, GitHub repo. Let's see what happens. Woohoo! It worked. Redirected us. Buy me a coffee. Did it work? Yeah, it's going off to PayPal. Go on. I'm not waiting for that. And the last one, drop down nav. Yep, that goes off to there. Brilliant. So one last thing before we're finished is we can make this navigation be cached. So if we go into the master template, and where we're rendering out the partial navigation here, we can do at html.cached partial, like that, and we can tell it what the model is. Oh, so we've got the partial view name, and then we want the model, and then we want the cache seconds. So I usually do that for 3,600 seconds, and cache by page and things like that. Now, if we were setting active links on the navigation items, then we'd probably want to cache by page. That's okay if you've not got a page with thousands of nodes. You don't want to cache a version for every one. And if it's not slow to build it up, you probably don't need to cache it. But anyway, I'm going to cache it. So I'll just say false for cache by page. Let's refresh this, and we should have a cached navigation now. So that's one of the concerns when people do a dynamic navigation is, are they building this navigation every time the page loads on every single page? You don't want to do that. So yeah, it's a good idea to cache that partial if you can. And also, definitely don't use the content service to get these nodes. Definitely use the cache. And I'm not sure if you can in V8 get to the content service. You probably can from the views, but yeah, there's no need to. Just do it a simple way like that. If you want to reorganize your navigation, what you can do is you can right-click on Home and do Sort, and then you can move these around. So maybe we want the links to be after About, and we can just drag those. Now you can do it that way, or you can click on Name as well. So clicking on Name or Creation Date will reorder things as well. I'm just going to close on that because I'm happy with the order that I just set it at. Refresh that, and now links is after About. And so that's it, really. That's how you do the navigation, make it all dynamic. So yeah, I think all that's left to say is thank you for watching. If you did enjoy it, please click on like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to be notified when my next video comes out, then click on the bell. Thanks for anyone who has donated, buy me a coffee. I do appreciate it. But I do also understand that during this time of lockdown and uncertainty of jobs and things like that, maybe some people have lost jobs already. Don't worry about sending any money to me. If you're feeling like that, you need to hold on to it and look after yourselves. Yeah, I just give it a like or a share or something like that. And I'll see you on the next video when I think of something else that I want to share. Oh, hang on. Before we go, this is bothering me. Is it bothering you? Let's just turn this off. So on the view where we listed out latest articles, yeah, we added that date time now. Let's get rid of that.